Alright, in today's video we're going to turn this piece of 3/4 inch plywood into the base cabinet of the drum sander. Since I've got this all designed up in Fusion 360, I decided to create CNC programs to cut it all out. So I need to cut this into a 29-inch wide piece, leaving it 48 inches wide, and we'll cut it out on the CNC. Alright, so the real nice thing about having a CNC is that you can cut out things that would normally take you a long time by hand and a lot more precise. Alright, so it looks like I messed up the program. So these counter bores right here are supposed to be on the opposite side of these, I guess, blind dados or dados. So I can use this as the bottom of the drum sander, so I can remachine this and don't cut these out when I machine it, and then come back, flip it over, and cut them out. So I got the program all fixed up to do that, so I'll go ahead and run those right now. Now that I got this cut out on the CNC, I need to make the dados, blind dados. What's that blind dado? I don't know. Anyway, I gotta make a groove here for the corner blocks to help make it square. So I cut out a little template on the CNC, and I just need to line it up right here on the distance that matches the other one, and gotta route it out. So the next step is to cut the aluminum rails for the lift part of the power feed table. I do switch out the miter saw blade for an aluminum one. That way I can keep the wood one sharp. Again, those T-nuts, I should have got those drop-in ones. These are just a pain to install. So the next step is I need to add some carriages to the table. So I 3D printed some to make sure that they would work. So they're gonna attach like that. And then I have some lead screw blocks that I'm gonna attach on here as well. And that's gonna be where the lead screws go, make the whole table go up and down. I'm not gonna use these 3D printed ones for this, so I went ahead and machined some aluminum ones. I am going to use the 3D printed lead screw blocks, so these work really well. So now I just need to finish adding the wheels to the other three, and then add the lead screw block, and then I can start assembling. So before I can start assembling everything, I need to get the lead screw nuts into the lead screw blocks, and I'm doing this using 3mm brass inserts where you heat them up and push them into the hole in the blocks. Alright, the next step is to assemble the belt tensioner. So what this is, there are 4 lead screws that are going to lift and raise the power feed table, and I'm going to link them all together with a G2 belt, and this little assembly is going to put tension on that belt so that when one lead screw turns, they all turn together. I saw this on my planer. I could see how that worked, so I kind of mimicked the same type of assembly. So hopefully this works. First time trying it out. Alright, now with all those parts ready to go, I can start assembling everything together. So I'm leaving everything loose, and I'll tighten it up once I get it all in position the way I want. All right, with everything looking good, I can go ahead and attach the top
and middle shelving unit pieces, making sure that they are attached securely and square. Pre-drilling into plywood is a must, otherwise it will kind of split. So I needed to machine a aluminum angle, and so I needed to create a fixture to put on my CNC so that I can actually machine these, and this worked out pretty well to get these angles machined.
The aluminum pieces that I just machined are going to go right here on top. And then these bigger holes are for the bearings that are going to go inside. That's what's going to hold the screws that raise the table up and down. So I just need to get these installed and the aluminum installed on top. We'll be on our way. To keep the threaded rods in line with the top bearing, I've got a hole with the bottom bearing I'm going to put in there, and then we'll add the screws. So I got the this belt in, and to help give it tension, I 3D printed this part that will, it's slack, and then as I cinch it in, it gives tension to the belts. That way it'll have nice, smooth, tight tension. Hopefully this works, so we'll see.
All right, so I got everything adjusted and in position, and with my drill and an angle attachment, I was able to lift and lower the table with the drill. Turned out pretty good. All right, so I have these access holes that I did with the CNC. They were just not lined up right with the blocks, so I needed to make them a little bit bigger so I could lock those blocks down.
Now that I got this all installed, I got the power feed bed or table that can raise up and down. I need to add a hand crank to this. So I 3D printed off one, and with some extra parts left over, I'll finish assembling it and install it. So in order to get this hand crank so it won't move on me while I'm trying to spin it to raise the bed up and down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lead screw nut block, and I'm going to insert it in here, and then I'll sandwich it between two of these collars, top and bottom, and that should hold it so it won't turn on me while I'm turning the lead screw. In order to do that, I need to do some of these heat insert nuts. So I'll install those now.
So I needed something to stabilize the top of the lead screw to the side of the cabinet. So I 3D printed a piece that held it in position. And at the top of this is where the hand crank wheel will go. Add the top collar to it to lock it in place. Now it raises and lowers by hand.
All right, for the speed control of the power feed table of the drum sander, I 3D printed a housing. So I'm gonna install that into here. And then I did a engraving cutting on the laser for the control piece. But for some reason I messed up and the holes don't line up, so I'm gonna have to redo that. But I can install the electrical parts in the housing. With the laser print done, I can now install the electronics into it. So I've got a little tab right there. It's going to go into a little hole that I made. All right, I got the base done. I've got the power feed table installed with the lift mechanism installed, and it works fairly well. The only problem I see is I need a stop for it because I can just push it down. So I need to have some sort of push, some sort of stop right here that sort of clamps it down while it's running. That way it won't be forced down. I've also got the power feed table 3D print and laser engraved top installed. And that works great. Forward, get it going forward. I can get it going backwards if I want, but I don't see a need in that. And then off. So in my next video, I need to install the drum itself. I need to install the motor in the bottom, along with the power switch that this will install into, and the motor. And I'm also going to install some pinch rollers. It'll go in the front and back of the drum itself with the spring mechanism. So when I push it through, the spring will push it, force it down into the bed, making sure that it stays tight. And when it goes through, it'll stand parallel with the bottom side. So that'll bring us to the end of this video. I'll see you next time here on Smedley Wood Design.